It begins as a low hum, an alien sound that slices through Moscow's daily noise. At first, it's almost easy to ignore, just another layer in the city's endless soundtrack. But within seconds, the unfamiliar tone grows, swelling into something that demands attention, something that feels wrong in the bones. The wail rises, relentless, echoing off glass towers and ancient squares. It ricochets between the old and the new, a sound that seems to vibrate through the very stones of the city. The siren's cry is both futuristic and ancient, a warning that transcends generations. This is not a drill, it is the sound of a nightmare made real. The city's emergency system, so often ignored, now commands absolute attention. Every ear strains to interpret the meaning, every heart pounds with the knowledge that this is the signal they hoped never to hear. The city, 12 million strong, freezes. For a moment, Moscow's collective heartbeat stops. The rhythm of daily life, so familiar, so predictable, halts in an instant, replaced by a silence that is almost deafening beneath the siren's scream. The air is electric with dread, a fear whispered about for generations. It's a fear that has lived in the background in stories told by grandparents, in drills at school, in the shadow of history. Now it is real and it is everywhere. Life halts. Forks drop in food halls, car horns fall silent, and metro trains seem to fade into memory. The city's pulse, once so strong, is suspended in a moment of collective disbelief. Even the smallest sounds, footsteps, breaths, seem amplified in the hush. The siren is a shockwave, erasing normalcy and replacing it with primal terror. It's a sound that strips away the illusion of safety, leaving only the raw, instinctive urge to survive. In that instant, the city's history and future collapse into a single, terrifying present. Every Muscovite, oligarch, or street sweeper stands equal before this threat. Status, wealth, and power mean nothing in the face of the siren. For the first time, the city's divisions dissolve, replaced by a shared vulnerability that unites everyone in fear. Confusion gives way to horror. This is the warning they never believed would come. Eyes dart for answers, for reassurance, but there is none. The city's millions are left to grapple with the unimaginable, each person's mind racing through worst-case scenarios. The abstract threat of nuclear war is now immediate, measured in minutes. Time itself seems to warp, stretching and compressing as people realize that every second counts. The ordinary markers of daily life, appointments, deadlines, routines, are rendered meaningless. The siren screams of failure, of diplomacy, of humanity, of the future itself. It is a sound that accuses, that mourns, that signals the collapse of everything the city has built. The weight of history presses down, heavy and inescapable. A mother clutches her child, a couple's future dissolves, an old woman prays. In living rooms and kitchens, in stairwells and shelters, people reach for comfort, for hope, for anything to hold on to as the world tilts beneath them. The siren strips away modern life, exposing raw human vulnerability. Technology, progress, and pride are powerless against the ancient terror that now grips the city. In this moment, everyone is reduced to their most basic fears and needs. Moscow, symbol of power, is now a city of individuals facing the unthinkable. The monuments and towers that once inspired awe now stand as silent witnesses to a city brought to its knees by a single, unrelenting sound. The sound connects them all, not in unity but in shared, isolating terror. In the echo of the siren, Moscow is transformed, a city suspended between past and future, hope and despair, waiting for what comes next. The city's shock shatters into chaos. In an instant, the familiar rhythm of Moscow is broken, replaced by a tidal wave of fear and confusion. Sirens wail in the distance, echoing off the buildings as people realize the gravity of the threat. People flood the streets, faces twisted in panic, running with no clear destination. Some clutch bags or children, others simply sprint, driven by pure instinct. The city's wide boulevards become rivers of humanity, all swept up in the same desperate current. Some rush to metro stations, clinging to old civil defense drills. Others just run, desperate to escape. The underground, once a symbol of daily routine, now feels like the only possible refuge. Crowds surge down the steps, pushing past each other in a frantic bid for safety. The air fills with shouts, crying children, and the frantic buzz of overloaded phones. Parents call out for missing loved ones, while others try to reach friends, their voices lost in the cacophony. The city's usual noise is replaced by a raw, collective fear. Order collapses, cars abandoned, traffic lights ignored, queues dissolve into desperate scrums, vehicles are left in the middle of the road as drivers join the stampede on foot, leaving behind any sense of normalcy. Strangers push past each other, survival their only focus. The rules of civility vanish as the crowd surges, each person fighting for space, for breath, for a way out. Amid the panic, small acts of kindness flicker. A young man helps an elderly woman, a shopkeeper shelters strangers. These moments of humanity shine briefly, reminders of compassion in the storm. But for every helper, many more are driven by fear. Most people are swept along by the chaos, their faces etched with terror, their only thought to escape. Social media explodes with terrified messages and shaky live streams, amplifying the panic. Videos of the chaos spread instantly, fueling rumors and confusion as the world watches Moscow unravel in real time. The city unravels, its best and worst instincts on display for the world to see. Every street, every square becomes a stage for both fear and fleeting hope. Moscow is not just under threat, it's coming apart at the seams, live for all to witness. The world holds its breath, watching a city teeter on the edge between chaos and resilience. This fear is old, woven into Russia's DNA since the dawn of the atomic age. For older Muscovites, the siren echoes Cold War drills and the ever-present threat of annihilation. The Cuban Missile Crisis left scars, reinforcing the West as an existential threat. After the Soviet collapse, hope flickered, nuclear arsenals shrank, old animosities faded. But optimism was short-lived, suspicion returned, fueled by NATO expansion and renewed nationalism. The language of deterrence and spheres of influence crept back. For younger Russians, nuclear war was a distant concept, until now. The siren violently connects generations, shattering illusions of safety. The ghosts of the Cold War were never exorcised, just dormant, waiting for a new crisis. Now history is alive in the streets, fueling the panic. Russia's nuclear warning system is a marvel of paranoia. An intricate web of technology and human vigilance, built on the ever-present fear of a surprise attack. In a world where minutes can mean the difference between peace and catastrophe, this system stands as a sentinel, always alert, never resting. Satellites orbit high above, radar arrays sweep the skies, and command centers hum with activity. Each element working in concert to spot a missile's telltale flare the instant it appears. The network is vast, designed to catch even the faintest sign of danger. Every second counts, decisions must be made in minutes. The pressure is immense, as officers weigh the fate of millions with every choice. Data floods in, real launch or false alarm. Analysts scramble to interpret the signals, knowing that a single misjudgment could trigger disaster. The Cold War nearly ended over glitches and mistakes. False alarms, computer errors, and misread signals have brought the world to the brink before, reminding us how fragile this balance truly is. The siren is the public face of this high-stakes process, triggered only after multiple layers of verification. It's a sound designed to cut through denial and disbelief, to jolt entire cities into action. When the siren blares, it means officials believe missiles are truly inbound. The decision is not made lightly, it's the result of frantic analysis and grave responsibility. The warning urges people to seek shelter and signals to the world. The attack is detected. It's a desperate attempt to save lives, even as the clock ticks down. It's the final communication before the unimaginable. In those moments, fear and uncertainty grip the population as the world holds its breath. The siren means diplomacy and deterrence have failed. All efforts to prevent catastrophe have come up short, and now only seconds remain. The chain reaction has begun. Alarms echo through bunkers and bases as protocols shift from prevention to retaliation. Retaliation must be swift. Once confirmed, there's no turning back. The machinery of war moves with chilling precision, set in motion by a single, irreversible decision. The siren is not just a warning, it's a signal that the world has crossed a line, and that history is about to change forever. It's the start of the world's final, fatal conversation, a moment when hope gives way to dread, and the future hangs in the balance. Deep underground, President Putin becomes the crisis's focal point. Surrounded by top advisors, he receives a flood of data, missile counts, trajectories, impact points. The Shige nuclear briefcase is at his side, connecting him to military command. Moscow is almost certainly a target. Decisions must be made in moments. Public statements, if any, would be defiant, framing the attack as unprovoked, rallying the nation. But behind the rhetoric, Putin faces an impossible choice: retaliate and doom millions, or hesitate and risk annihilation. Is the data certain? Is this a catastrophic error? The weight is unimaginable. In these minutes, one man's decision could define humanity's fate. The Moscow metro, mythologized as a fallout shelter, becomes a desperate refuge. Thousands surge underground, the ornate stations transformed into crowded bunkers. Families are separated, strangers huddle together, status erased by shared fear. An elderly woman sings a folk song, her voice a fragile comfort amid terror. Information is scarce, rumors swirl, missiles have struck or it's a false alarm. A man with a radio finds only static, the absence of news is its own torture. As panic fades, resignation sets in. People share water, food, and stories. A mother soothes her baby, strangers confess regrets, united by the belief these may be their last moments. In the metro's depths, heroics give way to quiet humanity. They wait together in the dark, hoping for a miracle or bracing for the end. As Moscow's sirens sound, the world's capitals erupt in crisis. Intelligence agencies scramble. Was this a first strike, an accident, or a provocation? Hotlines between Washington and Moscow buzz with desperate, suspicious exchanges. Trust evaporates. Diplomacy collapses into a binary choice: launch or don't launch. Allies brace for war, neutrals plead for peace, markets vanish in the face of apocalypse. The crisis is a black hole, pulling the world into its vortex. The doctrine of deterrence has failed. The unthinkable is now reality. The world holds its breath, united in the knowledge that humanity has crossed the line. Then, the sirens stop. The silence is more terrifying than the noise. The city waits, straining for the sound of impact. Seconds stretch into eternity. Was it a false alarm, a miracle, or the calm before the end? Slowly, hope returns. News trickles in. It was a catastrophic system malfunction, a false alarm. Relief washes over Moscow, but there is no celebration, only exhaustion and trauma. The experience leaves a permanent scar, making nuclear fear real for a new generation. Globally, the incident sparks demands for disarmament and a reckoning with the doomsday machines. The world is given a second chance it did not deserve. The lesson is clear: true security lies in trust and diplomacy, not arsenals. The silence after the siren is a call to action. Never again.